The trailer for the second and surprisingly final season of Star Wars Resistance dropped today. Let's not waste any time and just get to the breakdown. Things kick off with a bit of a wrap-up from the first season's finale as the Colossus comes out of hyperspace above some unknown planet. But I think we can say it's definitely not Dakar since there's no asteroid belt around it. The station is busted up and in need of repairs, and Captain Doza worries that it'll be difficult to keep it going with the First Order at their backs. I'm getting some serious Battlestar Galactica vibes from this, which I am very into. If you're unfamiliar with that show, you should really watch it because it's one of the best science fiction series I've ever seen, but it's about the last 50,000 humans or so on the run from an enemy that wants to wipe them out completely, and they're doing it all on an old warship called the Galactica that's falling apart over the course of the story. They have to deal with shortages in everything, including food, water, and fuel, which are all things Niku mentions as well. And the Galactica has to protect a number of civilians and keep their morale up, which, again, the Colossus is in that same situation since the station is home to a lot of people who didn't want to get swept up in any kind of fight. And on top of all that, Kaz says the Colossus deserves a new home, so I'm thinking this season might be about finding a new place for all those people to live. And guess what? The Galactica is on a search for a mythical planet called Earth to restart humanity. I have mixed feelings about all these similarities. On the one hand, I love Battlestar so much that seeing a Star Wars take on it could be fun, but on the other, I don't want to feel like I've seen all these stories before, you know? But I have faith that Resistance will be different enough. It's easy to draw all these parallels in a bunch of trailer shots without context. Plus, it looks like we'll get to see plenty from the First Order side of things now that Tam has joined them. Pyre and Phasma will probably still be your standard faceless evil villains, but Tam isn't that. She's someone we'll be rooting for in a sense to come back to her friends. But in the meantime, it sounds like she's helping the First Order track the Colossus. And then you have Tierney, who is a whole different kind of villain. One of my favorite Tolkien quotes is about how a servant of the enemy could appear fair and feel foul, and that's exactly her. She's all smiles on the outside, but just underneath the surface you know something's not right. It looks like we'll also be seeing a new version of the First Order Stormtrooper. They're kind of reminding me of the Imperial Purge Trooper from the Darth Vader comics and the upcoming Fallen Order game, but I have no idea what they are. And the new stuff doesn't stop there. We've got some new TIEs with kind of inverted interceptor wings and engines that look similar to the TIE Silencer. A voiceover from a new character talks about the state of the galaxy and how entire planets are just giving up and bowing down to the First Order. I don't want to jump the gun, but one of those planets looks an awful lot like Batuu. Another new character warns Kaz to get as far away as he can because bounty hunters are after him. Again, trying not to jump the gun, but I would guess this is Kaz's father. His voice sounds an awful lot like Kaz's father from back in the series premiere. We actually get to see some of those bounty hunters, and one of them is Sidon Athano, the Crimson Corsair, baby. I am so glad we're getting more stories with him. I really loved his short story from before The Force Awakens, and more importantly, if he's here, then that means Kix could appear as well. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Dave Filoni wound up getting at least one clone trooper in all three of the Star Wars animated shows. If you're confused, Kix was frozen in stasis after learning the truth of Order 66, and then the ship he was on crashed and was lost until the sequel trilogy era where he was discovered and awakened by the Crimson Corsair. There were also a number of battle droids on board, so that could explain all the B-2 battle droids in this trailer. Maybe they've been reprogrammed to fight with Athano. And this other bounty hunter looks like he could be an Iktachi with the horns, and his armor looks awesome. There's a really fast look at him in the trailer later that confirms his species. The Guavian Death Gang looks like they're also back in the mix. I'm not sure what's going on with this shot in the fog except that pirates may have scavenged the pieces of Von Reg's red TIE Interceptor and repurposed them into some kind of shuttle. This desert settlement looks a lot like the buildings I said might be Black Spire earlier, and the rest of the planet looks nothing like Batuu, so I'm probably wrong about that guess. The rest of the trailer is made up of fast action shots, and a lot of them take place on water-looking planets, so I would guess that the Colossus is specifically looking for another aqua world to settle on. We're gonna keep exploring stuff with the kids from Tahar, and we see them with Kaz outside of some temple. Inside, I'm assuming, is some sort of relic, and with all the red in the room and the triangular shape, I'd guess it's Darkseid related. An old woman says it's a power source from an ancient time, so maybe a kyber crystal? I bet it's the cause of whatever this energy explosion is. Looks like we're seeing a space station casino or nightclub kind of thing run by a Hutt, and he looks like he might be the friendliest Hutt we've ever met outside of maybe Grabala in the Freemaker adventures. These fighters chasing the fireball are new to me, but I'm gonna guess that they're Guavian related with that color scheme. They could also be with the Crimson Corsair, but it sounds like his crew just runs on a freighter. The Death Gang sounds like a bigger outfit, more likely to have starfighters. Here we have stormtroopers shooting at a TIE fighter, and we can't make out who's inside, but I'll just keep making guesses and say it's Tam after she decides to go back to her friends. But it could be anyone, since it looks like Kaz and Niku and probably more of the crew sneak onto a First Order Star Destroyer or something. They can be seen wearing some orange vests that are suspiciously similar to Matt the radar technician from Saturday Night Live. I really hope that's intentional. There's a shot with 4 X-Wings, the Fireball, and 3 transports of some kind, so I think that means eventually our heroes will finally meet up with the rest of the Resistance. With these animated trailers, generally they focus on what we'll be seeing in the first half of the season, and then we get a mid-season trailer during the time off. So I'm thinking the mid-season finale will have Kaz and company reunited with Poe and everyone else just in time for the rise of Skywalker. And the final sequence of the trailer brings in Kylo Ren, who uses the Force across the galaxy to get Tierney to reach for her blaster while she looks terrified, which is pretty dark. I'm glad Ren will be in the show, but I'm not expecting him to be a huge part of the story. Maybe more so in the second half of the season once The Rise of Skywalker has been released and all bets are off. But that's the trailer, and the show will be premiering on October 6th. I am disappointed that this is the final season. I was surprised by how good the first season of Resistance was. If you didn't give it a shot, I highly recommend it. Yeah, it's lighthearted and aimed at kids, but the writing and characters are solid. The season felt tight with very little filler. The themes and messages were good. I guess it kind of makes sense that the series would be short since it's pretty likely the whole conflict with the First Order won't be all that long. But still, Avatar: The Last Airbender took place over the course of 1 year and it was 3 seasons. Oh well, I'm gonna miss watching and reviewing it with all of you. But what did you guys think of the Season 2 trailer? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.